Last the 11th of January marks the 8th anniversary of a day that profoundly altered my life. My experience on this day was so bizarre and incomprehensible that I was simultaneously terrified and enlightened by it. On this particular day, I first sensed the odor of a realm outside our own. It was an encounter that has lived with me ever since and has impacted the way I view the world. Death Journey has been a matter of debate for generations, but it is still a mystery. We may not have the approach to life's greatest dilemma, but we can consider our own spiritual convictions and experiences with it. The day of my accident served as a reminder of how vulnerable we are and how near to death we can reach. I had no idea that sunny January evening would mark the moment when I would look back on my entire life in an instant. However, leaving that coffee at that particular moment and location was my choice. The act of crossing the street to get a cigarette was an example of the impact of seemingly little choices. A fractured skull, harmed lungs, 2 split shoulders, a broken hand, and flesh that was torn off of the left side of the face. Blood was all over me. My life was on the line. I was so close to death, I tasted it. But I was feeling so alive. I spent about 15 days in a coma, but I was just beginning to awaken, observing reality as it existed. Stop acting as if everything is fine when the world is anything but. In the intensive care unit following the coma, I saw 3 people pass away. Being a part of someone's death journey is such an honor. Ancient Egypt was a civilization that was deeply rooted in religious beliefs and practices. Burial rites were of particular importance, as the body had to be properly prepared for the afterlife. As such, only those hand-picked by the gods were trusted with this sacred task. The priests. They could spend up to 70 days to ensure that the body was preserved and protected from decay so that it could make its journey into the afterlife. I'd probably say no if you asked me if I believe in the hereafter, because I think Hindus are actually right. Rebirth, reincarnation, samsara, any living thing could be your new form. Even so, one life, one end, I'd prefer not to return back. If death is inevitable, why bother doing anything? Why are we dying to live if we're living to die? And is sleep related somehow to death? Life includes death, which, regrettably, can take many aspects. For some, it comes naturally as they age or for other natural reasons. Others may be impacted by serious accidents, injuries, or illnesses that doctors are unable to heal. And for some people, suicide, due to depression or other mental health concerns, results in death. Death impacts us all and shouldn't be taken lightly. Although they are frequently contrasted, sleep and death are actually very dissimilar. Death is the cessation of heartbeat, brain function, and consciousness. On the other hand, sleep goes through a number of stages that let us rest and regenerate. Stage 1. Brain waves begin to slow down. Stage 2. The pulse slows and sleep spindles begin to form. The deepest stages are stages 3 and 4, during which growth hormone is released and tissue is being healed. Stage 5. Rapid eye movement. The brain largely causes the body to become paralyzed. The face twitches and the eyes flutter. Around 80% of dreams start when brain waves go mental at this phase. While sleep is a short state that may be effortlessly reversed with the correct stimulus, death is permanent and irreversible. The amusing thing of this, however, is that have you ever wondered what occurs when we don't dream, when we sleep? Is it always pitch black and void? Is it because sleep is just a timid death? In our youth, we must have all had the realization that, well, people die eventually, Mum and Dad are people, and I'm a person. So, oh Lord. I, along with some others, never really recovered from that stage, simply said it's too much. Being mature enough at an early age to understand that everything and everyone you know will vanish one day, that his interests, desires, and existence are finite. And when that day comes, it will be difficult to accept that soul never existed. That idea is too broad and spiky for a young man's mind to handle. The gatherings, the births of people we might get to love, the walks, the cuddles, all the brave journeys into the unknown our species might yet take, these are the things we shall miss once we are gone. Life is a paradox. We frequently find ourselves in situations when we must decide between hope and despair, between living and dying. But what if death appears to be something practical or tolerable? What if our defense mechanisms deceive us into thinking that life is more valuable than death, when it may actually be the opposite? We must be aware of the darkness that lies beneath the surface of our lives, the nothingness, the doom, and the cancerous beliefs that can consume us. Is this life worth dying for more than it is worth living for? Or is it death itself, cunningly covering up as something that seems to be bearable? We must all ask ourselves that question at some point in our life. Death is a part of life that has been pondered by humans since the dawn of time. It is a spiritual and often absurd journey, shrouded in darkness and fear. In many cultures, it is believed that death is merely a doorway to another form of existence, an afterlife full of adventure and excitement. The soul may be reborn in another body or take on a new form altogether. While death can be seen as a burden, it can also be viewed as an opportunity for exploration and growth. I will, however, tell you what has worked for me, knowing that, whether I like it or not, I'm a part of something bigger, an experiment called US, performed throughout the entire globe, conducted across all history. This helps me when it's late, and I can't sleep, and my bedtime maniac starts weeping that I'll go into darkness one day